single thing
I know.
to set up the stream, and the other guy doesn't do anything.
Right, except sits there and
But
be charming.
why
Rather
not
nobody
do
watch anyway.
even more stuff?
Yeah.
You know what's
So,
great about this, Ben? This is what I think. If all of a sudden we end up getting like 5 million viewers or whatever, we will be so practiced at doing this. They're going to be like, "How could they be so calm?" Just like with our
we're calm. It's
with our show. Yeah, we would just walk out there and
oh crap. Yeah.
it's almost like it wasn't even happening.
Yeah.
But it was.
Yeah, well, we're calm because this is episode 267.
267, and I doubt that there is a person who has listened to every single episode. I know Jennifer hasn't listened to every single episode.
If anybody,
maybe.
If anybody has that honor, it's McCandless.
Yeah. So.
And I'm sure he'll let us know.
So just a little bit of a personal note about me for those of you who are watching the stream. I have been using Dr. Squatch, which is a deodorant. Famously doesn't use a lot of harsh chemicals, things like that. But what it isn't is an antiperspirant. It is simply a deodorant. So every once in a while, when I'm like, like that, I sometimes go, oh, maybe I am leaking out of my arms.
Well,
who's to say?
I don't think they make the brand of deodorant that I use anymore. It's a little frustrating. However, I did go through a phase where I wore antiperspirant instead, and I think it's the aluminum that is inside antiperspirant that was irritating my skin.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Stopped using that.
Oh, hey, speaking about which, I'm sure you already knew this, but
oh yeah, look at that! You got your first shot,
and I haven't taken the Band-Aid off yet. It's been
1 week,
2 days.
How
the Band-Aid on.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling all right. The one thing, the reason I thought about it was because I was doing this. The one thing is that I got the shot of my left arm. They let you choose which arm to use, and I talked to a guy, and I didn't think about this before I got it, but I got it on my non-dominant hand, right?
Right.
I'm like, oh yeah, I don't want my right arm to be sore, but I talked to a guy later who was like, no, you should get it in your dominant hand because the thing that makes it stop aching so much is when you constantly use it.
Oh, really?
So you should get it in your dominant hand. Now, the thing that I didn't think about is my my iPhone hand is my left hand. So it works out. It worked out anyway. But yeah, I didn't feel bad.
It's really funny because you consider Washington State to be a pretty progressive state. However, I'm not allowed to get a vaccine until I just got a text today, April 15th.
Well.
And even then, when I'm eligible, it's probably going to be a while until I'm actually able to get one because of everybody who's going to get in line in front of me.
Do you know what version it is? What type? What?
Yeah, no, I don't.
So
I'm just I'll take whatever they give me.
Illinois is the Pfizer vaccine, and I've had several people ask me, "Isn't the Pfizer the bad one?" And it is. It's also the only one that Illinois is providing at this time.
The Pfizer one though has the highest efficacy rate, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
And so when they say
that's one of the things. It makes you feel bad.
When they say, is that what they mean when they say the bad one?
Yeah, that's what they mean. They mean it's the one that makes you feel bad. They're like, uh-oh. You got the one now. So here's the thing: dose number 1 didn't make me feel bad.
Yeah.
This is not scientific what I'm about to say, but anecdotal evidence is that the second shot is the one that makes you feel bad.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Here's another thing that I will say. When I was there, someone had a bad reaction. You're not allowed to take cameras in or take pictures or whatever. Someone had a bad reaction. On all the people just went to where that person was, got them out of there.
I take it this wasn't a drive-through vaccination place.
No. This is it was a convention center kind of.
Yeah.
It was run by. It was set up. There were military people all over the place. It was great. I mean, here's the thing: for a guy like me, it felt awesome. It was like a scene out of a movie. They tell you where to go, where to stand, all this kind of stuff. Very nice, very professional, very, you do this, okay, wait there. Okay, now go here. Okay, now, there was never a time for me to get lost, never a time for me to wander off. Someone had eyes on me the whole time.
That's like when I went to go meet Bruce Springsteen at LA Bay Book Company.
Yeah, probably similar.
Crowd control at its finest.
Yeah, it really, maybe it's just for you and me, but for me, so efficient, it felt really, really good. They could have, I could have been in a cattle car, right, and been getting a bolt through my head at the end of it, and I still would have been like, these guys, they really are. They know what they're doing. There's a gate here, and I know that these are electrified here. So, but it was great. So there's a guy at my local comic book store that I saw when I was there. Yeah. Asked him afterwards how he felt. He felt fine. I said, did you see that guy? He said, yeah, it was 2 feet away from me. Younger guy, right? Don't know, but control group, Jennifer went the day after me. No one had any problems in her line. So
I imagine
this isn't like.
Yeah, sorry, I imagine that sort of medical emergency immediately after getting the vaccine is a pretty rare occurrence.
Well, this is the thing. They keep you 15 minutes afterwards for observation because when people do have problems, it's usually within the first 15 minutes.
Oh, really? I did not know
that.
So when you in those drive-through vaccination places, they make you just go park someplace for 15 minutes?
Well, maybe. I don't know if they're Pfizer or not, but maybe. I mean, yeah, they might have you drive up, vaccinate you, and then observe you for however long.
Yeah.
But
yep, he's still over there.
So, what's that?
Yep, he's over there. I can see him.
Oh, yeah,
Consider him observed.
Yeah, you wouldn't want someone just driving off. I told you about this back when I lived in Seattle. Not Highland Park, but when we were living at Mount Baker, me, Jennifer, and Betty.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I would take the bus, and I would be at this one bus stop that was near, I don't know, there's like a what do you call that? Overpass, maybe, or some sort of street that goes up.
Goes over another street,
and there's a wall that's a big structure for that overpass or whatever.
All right.
A guy ran a red light. I'm like, that guy ran a red light, and then he crashed into that wall, and it was because he had had a heart attack.
Yeah.
In his car while he was so it is something. Those drive-through places, I don't think that they just let you go. They better not if it's the same problem.
Yeah,
but I don't know. So people were like, "Oh, you don't know what's in it," and I got two things. One, I was in basic training, and they shoot you through with all sorts of stuff, and that's one thing. But number two, you don't know what's in it. Okay, so
you eat a hot dog, you don't know what's in it.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. What world are we living in? Where because that's the thing. They're like, they might want to poison you or track you or.
I've done my research on the internet. It's full of things you don't want in your body. Spend at least a half an hour.
How would they use that as the mechanism instead of something else? If you believe in an all-powerful government that's trying to do bad things to you, how is this any different than any other? Why don't they just put you to sleep, while you're in your bed at night and take you out in a van and do whatever. You know what I mean?
It's really funny how people who are the most conspiracy minded about like how government is trying to control everybody also like probably complain about how ineffective government is.
Right. It's two sides, right? Like,
yeah,
they're evil and sneaky, and also can't do anything right.
They can't fill the pothole in front of my street, but they're putting a chip into my arm to watch me 24/7.
Now, I used to be one of those guys, so I'll tell you what it is. You've got two different governments. You've got the bad government, and then you've got the secret government. And the secret government is the effective
one. Public-facing government.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of the public-facing government, it's Edward.
Edward, I just realized I'm wearing the same T-shirt that I wore last week, too.
I am also wearing the same T-shirt I wore last week.
It's our podcasting shirt.
Our laundry cycles have synced up.
Well, you know, they say if you podcast with someone for a while, that happens.
Happy Trans Visibility Day, by the way,
happy
Ben.
Happy Trans Visibility Day today. Yeah.
I took today to put my pronouns in my social media profile. Betty talked to me about it. Said that it's a good idea to do it.
Especially for people with he, him, and she, her pronouns, because it normalizes non-binary pronoun usage.
Well, and here's the thing. I used, because this is an option, he, they.
Right, and, that is an option.
Here's where I go with that. I think, we've talked about this, I think they is already used. They is already used. Love it. But you know what I mean. The word they is already used in documentation all the time.
Yeah.
As a singular pronoun. And I think it's going to become more normalized. And so I think everyone, even people who use he, she pronouns, should get used to also being called they. Now, I think the option for our non-binary friends should be, you know, you can use just they and that's fine, right? Or whatever you want to use. But I think they should be a default option that you use all the time. And this is the one that I always pull out these days, because I used to use you, and they're like, well, you could be, you know, whatever. The word I went to the store, right? There is no reason why a man's version of I and a woman's version of I have to be the same, right? It's just the way that our language works. There could be a pronoun I that women use and a pronoun I that men use. Where, you know, so I'm just coming up with this. And please, if you're listening to this in the future and you're going to start some weird man-woman thing, don't do this. But hi for me and shy for, it's hi for I male and shy for I female. So hi went to the store. I say, my wife says, shy went to the store, to differentiate so that when the person's listening to that, they'll know, okay, this speaker is a woman or this speaker is a man. You could do that. English doesn't have that, though. English allows I to be used whether you're identifying as a male or a female. No reason why they can't be that way as well. I feel like.
Yeah, it's. I still struggle with it though. Like I have many non-binary and gender fluid friends who use they them pronouns, and I'm still at the point where I have to. Sometimes I screw up, and I stop. Sometimes I have to stop and think about it, and yeah, it's fortunately the people that I know are very forgiving. But if you like show a willingness to learn and adapt, you're okay, as opposed to just being a jerk.
Yeah, I feel like, well, here's the thing, right? If you, low battery.
Oh, I lost you.
I'm low battery. Can you see me? Okay,
I can see you now.
I gotta go plug my phone in.
Oh, so, Jesus! You would think this would be something. You would think this would be something that you took care of before we started.
What? Wait, now would you?
You're
Would you really?
complaining. Well,
Or would you hope it would be something that I would do?
is this something that
But
I need to add on to the weekly email where I send you the Zoom link, I
yeah,
send
you send
you
me
the YouTube link, and I also have to remind you to
you send
plug
me
your
the
device
YouTube
in?
link and the Zoom link, and then also remind me to plug in my phone.
My
Okay,
God, I need a checklist.
so here's what I would say. Your friends who use they them pronouns exclusively, most likely when you met them they weren't using they them pronouns.
For a majority.
So that's something that's more difficult because you're switching in your head.
Yeah.
For instance, if I told you that from now on, because this is something I did at work, from now on I want to be known as Goody, not Paul. I've explained this, right?
No,
Why?
you haven't. Are there too
There's
many
another
Pauls?
guy.
Yeah.
There's another guy named Paul who he doesn't get in trouble, but he has a higher stakes job than me. And often people say, "Oh, you've got to talk to Paul about that." And people will talk to me thinking that I'm the guy they're supposed to be talking to. I'm like,
Right.
okay, no, I'm not. I'm not that guy. I can't help you. So I want them to call me Goody so that when they hear that, they know because there's no other Goody there. Should be fine. Uh, with that in mind, uh, if I told you, Ben, start calling me Goody, it would take you less time than many because we have GudeLaurance. So you're used to me being referred to as that.
Yeah.
But someone who only knows me as Paul, trying to do that, my name's going to be Paul Goody for a while. Like, just like when Betty would talk to me and Jennifer, right? My name was Mom Dad, and her name was Dad Mom because she didn't know which one to call us. She was always confused. So she would call, finally, once she started learning, she would be like, "Oh, Dad," she would know that she had to switch, but it would take her a second.
Yeah.
Whereas if in the future you meet someone and when you meet them, you know that they're using they pronouns, they, them, I think you will have a much better time doing it.
Yeah. And it's not just pronoun usage; it's name usage too. Like you say, like if you wanted me to call you Goody, I'd probably respect that because I respect you. But
Yeah.
I'd probably still call you Paul because we've known each other long enough that I can pretty much call you whatever I want. But
yeah, I owe you that much, if nothing else.
But like my one of my uncles, my mom's brother, changed his name. He went through a large midlife crisis, had some trauma, and emerged from it on the other side. And now his name is basically it's the same derivation of his full name. He's just going by a different derivation. But
are you talking now? I'm not going to guess this one for sure, but let's say, for instance, he at one point in time went by Andy, and now he's going by Drew.
Exactly, something
that?
like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So out of respect, we all call him his new name, but my mom still calls him by his old name, and I don't get upset about it on his behalf because I'm like, she's his older sister. She can call him whatever she wants.
Yeah.
It's that kind of relationship. Now, if, say, a different family member had come out as transgendered or gender fluid and wanted a name change like that, then there might be discussion because then it kind of verges on like your internal identity. I have no way to explain it, but like if mom had this mythical other sibling that was born a biological boy and now wants to be known as a woman and goes and identifies as such, but mom still called her sibling as a boy's name, we might have to have a discussion.
Right, because at that point you have to think about the motivation, right? When people dead name somebody, they're doing it on purpose to get at them and to
for the
cause
most
them
part
pain.
Yeah.
Oftentimes.
Yeah. There's ignorance involved, innocent ignorance involved in some. But if, like I said, if if you're willing to learn and adapt and change, then, you apologize, you use the proper name, and you move on.
Right, exactly. And eventually it becomes second nature.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of, I have some friends who I call by one name that now I call by another name, and it's super easy. You know, I was I was going to actually use an example, but then I was like, no, that's the exact thing that we're trying to not do. So no, I won't. But yeah, I've gotten better
Yeah.
at that kind of stuff. It's funny, we're middle aged now, you know?
We're old people.
Like, yeah, it's crazy, but hopefully things will be good. I know that somebody 30 years from now. And I know whenever I say this, Ben, you're like, oh, come on. That's not going to happen. But I feel like in the future, people will be starved for content. And we're gonna
blow up. I don't know.
People are gonna be, so crazy. They're gonna use the live stream and the audio because we've got so much material that they're gonna create two characters off of us and have us doing things that we never dreamed of. I still love the idea, Ben, that the reason that I'm me and I'm here right now talking to you is because I am in a simulation, and I'm in a simulation specifically because they were able to mine our podcast for content. And that's why I can't remember large chunks of my life that existed before I knew you.
Yeah, well, I watched a movie called Glitch in the Matrix where a lot of that is laid out. And in fact, I want to talk to you about something because I brought up something recently.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Blair and I were having a conversation about, because it's Passover, and we were having a conversation about not religion, but like ideology, like life and death ideology. Like, what do you really believe when you die?
Oh, speaking of one thing, the hot dog that I ate, 100% beef. I just want to lay that out there. It's Hebrew National Jumbo 100% beef hot dog. Not eating bacon during Passover, if I can help it.
Right.
And
I'll come back to that.
Hot dog made out of bacon, though. I mean, come on. Sorry. Ben, you were talking.
I'll come back to that because because you said something in the movie that I thought about, because when I'm a-religious, right? I don't believe in a higher power. I don't believe in spirits or anything like that. I think that when you die, you're gone. And Keanu Reeves actually had a good answer to this question. He was asked on a talk show. Somebody asked him, "What do you think happens when you die?" And he thought for a moment. Keanu Reeves is actually a really great person. And he said, "The people that love you will miss you, and that's what happens when you die." And so I don't, but you said in the movie, I'm going to quote you to your face.
Yeah.
When you die, you just wake up somewhere else.
Yep. It's interesting because you remember what happens in the movie during spoilers for Glitch in the Matrix. It's a documentary, but still, it shows Keanu Reeves dying and then waking up somewhere else.
Exactly, the very final scene in the movie, yeah.
Which is very interesting. Yeah, but I firmly believe that. And if you remember, what I say in the movie is because I've done it. And it's true. It's happened to me multiple times. The most famous, it didn't make it into the movie, but the director and I talked about it a lot. And I often wonder, when I say the director and I talked about it a lot, did we? Or did I just keep bringing it up and you listened to me talk about it?
Very patient man.
Possible. But it was a dream I had when I was between 3 and 5 years old. I was in a lighthouse, and 3 gorillas came in. They were actual hairy gorillas.
Yeah.
3 gorillas came in and threw me out of the lighthouse, and I hit the ground and I died. And then I woke up and I was a kid. So I remember that. I remember that happened.
So here's my question, though.
Yeah.
like we were also talking about reincarnation, and like if
Yeah,
one soul is reincarnated into the life of another human or the life of an animal, what does it matter if you don't retain your memories from your previous lives? And you can say that's like
yeah.
what deja vu is, and that's what dreams are. So your previous lives sneaking back into your subconscious. But when you die in a dream and you wake up here and blink, you're suddenly
Yeah.
here. Your previous life has died.
Yep.
Unlike that moment that you just mentioned, where you remember that for the rest of your life, those dreams just kind of blink out of existence in your memory. So I'm sure I've died a
Wait.
number of times in dream. Yeah, I've done. So I've died a
When
number.
you say
I've died a
when
number of
you say
times in
those, you're
dreams.
talking about those dreams blink out of
The
existence in your memory,
in your memory.
not
Yeah.
in my memory.
So you don't. You don't.
I retain a lot of dream
Every
memories.
single dream you've ever had.
Not every single dream, but almost all the ones where I've died. There are a lot.
How can you be sure though if you don't remember the ones you don't remember?
Well, I don't remember the things I don't remember in general. I mean, I'm not disputing that fact at all. Things I don't remember, gone. And so I don't know that I don't remember them. But I do remember a lot of dreams. And I remember a lot of dreams in which
So
I've died.
when you die, okay. So let's say you're dreaming, you get shot in the head, and you die in the dream. Bang, you're gone. You
Okay.
wake up, you're in bed, you're Paul Cootie. All right.
Yeah.
You go about your day. You think about that dream because it was like, wow, that was crazy. And then over the course of like the day, you forget it completely, and you try to think about
I
it at
stopped
night,
thinking about yeah,
and
I
you try to
stopped
think,
thinking
you try
about
to
the dream
remember it,
again.
and you can't remember it.
Normally
So
what happens, like, okay, so there are two things. One is people, a lot of people talk about this. The idea that, all right, I'm gonna give you the crazy Paul answer. And that's whatever reality you happen to be in encroaches on your mind. And the events that happen in the reality that you're in try to anchor you to that reality. So when I wake up and I'm Paul Goody, a lot of times the things that start flooding my mind are, oh, I've got to do this today. Oh, I've got to do this. Oh, I've got to. So yeah, lots of times I don't have time to think about the dream I just had because there are so many other things happening. Now, what happens to me, perhaps more than other people, but other people have experienced this. You're going to know what I'm talking about when I say it. You're not going to go, oh, what is that, Paul? You'll see something during the day and you'll be like, oh, that reminds me. I had a dream last night that I had a sandwich and inside the sandwich was a banana peel or something to that effect. Like you'll see a sandwich and a banana and you'll remember, oh, there's a banana peel inside my sandwich, as an example, whatever.
yeah.
So dreams can encroach on our waking world, but as soon as you think about that, well, what's next? Oh, now I've got a meeting to go to in 5 minutes, whatever. So we don't dwell on our other realities that much in our waking life. And we don't normally, I mean, this is my experience, we don't necessarily dream about the same world over and over and over again when we dream. We usually have different experiences that don't
Usually.
all link together. There are some people I have heard that have that they have like a separate life that's their same life. Now, I have
It,
had events that do link up, but they're not all the same. They don't all link up, basically.
no, but it is quite remarkable when you're dreaming, and like I dream of commonplaces, right?
Yeah,
Constantly in the home I grew up in, constantly in my college dorm for some reason. And in these dreams, there's a whole history I can remember which motivates my
yeah.
actions.
Now,
And
let me ask you a really quick question. In those
yeah.
dreams about those places, is there ever like a road that you'd never gone down before? And you're like, oh, or a door or
There's
anything
you
like
yeah,
like
I mean
is there an addition?
if you think about it, there's usually something kind of off about it. It's not
Yeah,
a
okay.
one-to-one scale replica. But I mean, this is going back to my my thinking about like what reincarnation is, right? So you're basically getting, the kid who got thrown off the lighthouse by the gorillas got reincarnated into the body of Paul Goody, and all of Paul Goody's memories up until that point have just been implanted.
Can I tell you something really quick? Just a very interesting dream I had when I was like probably 8 or 9.
Sure.
African American woman in a lab coat was putting me, an adult bearded man, into some sort of machine, telling him how I was going to be a kid. Then putting me into the thing, and then I woke up. and the thing is that the guy that I look like now is similar to that guy, even though I didn't look anything like this when I was a kid. So here's the question, right? Have I consciously groomed myself to look like the guy that I dreamt about when I was 8 years old or so? Possibly.
There's no answer for that, but I think the human brain is still, we do not know very much about it. We know a lot, but I mean, I'm sure within the next 30 years, we're going to learn a lot more. But, 30 years isn't really that long a time. 1991 was 30 years ago, and it doesn't really seem like it was 30 years ago.
Wow, yeah, that is true. Speaking of 1991 and not knowing a lot about the human brain, I just want to share with you a really quick anecdote. One of my favorite things that happened whenever I was doing improv stuff. I remember who it was, too. It was Sarah Engelke. Sarah Engelke was doing short form improv, and we were doing, the whose line is it anyway? The party. What do they call it when all these people show up? They have a slip of paper that says who they are and they show up. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's not scenes from a hat, but it's
like it. Yeah.
Something. Yeah. And the host of the party has to guess who everybody else is.
Party? Something like that. Yeah. So people show up. Sarah got the prompt, a monkey with a human brain. And what she did was just showed up and was like, and I clocked it. I was like, where did you get that? Put that back. Wait. But yeah, she's just a monkey the entire time. It was awesome. Anyway,
that's a good read. That's a good read on that description.
Yeah, it's fun. It makes it more exciting.
In other news, Brian Posehn has not accepted my friend request yet.
Oh no!
But something we talked about last week, which we thought was going to be an ongoing topic of discussion for weeks to come, actually is no longer. The Ever Given has been released from its accidental moorage in the Suez Canal.
And good for them. Good for Egypt for getting that out of there.
Yeah.
Egypt's been modern country, for sure. This is something that was funny. I'm sure you saw this on TikTok, which you don't have.
A lot of that stuff gets reposted to Reddit. So
there was a person who was saying about how they'll tell you that human beings originated in Africa. It's not true. They originated in Egypt. And there's a guy who was like, Egypt is in Africa.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things. There's a comedian named Jimmy Tingle who told a joke that was, I visited Africa recently, excellent country. And he got some laughs, and it's very sad that when talking to people that I knew about that clip, they thought that people were laughing because Africa isn't that great of a country. Not because Africa is a continent, not a country. That was his joke was Americans don't know anything about Africa, which is true.
Right.
Well, not true. There are plenty of Americans who know stuff about Africa. This is a problem, and I'm trying to solve it and myself. When we talk about problems that Americans have, oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes, it's a certain segment of the American population that look a lot like you and me, more so than all Americans. Like, for instance, a lot of Americans speak Mandarin. A lot of Americans speak Cantonese. We don't. Not much, anyway. But that doesn't mean that Americans don't. America is big enough that a lot of Americans, even if it's only a small percentage of Americans, there are still a lot of Americans who do something that people often say Americans don't do.
And there are a lot of Americans who have a very specific idea of what an American is. And those people seem to get those, the late night news shows.
And, the thing is, I feel like, as long as you and I don't do that, as long as we keep listening to people, those other people eventually won't be able to influence policies as much or anything like that, because we're getting to be, the senior people, which is really odd, but true. Not the senior citizens, Ben, but the
right.
Like in an organization, right?
Yeah.
There are still people older than me in organizations when I'm there, but not as many anymore. Like the olds are off in their retirements or doing whatever it is they're doing. And I'm one of the older people participating in society. I've talked about this before. I'm older than most cops I run into nowadays, which is weird.
How many cops do you run into?
Like 2. Not a lot.
And then I back up and I run into them again.
But for instance, when I went to the COVID thing, all the military guys that were there were younger than me.
Yeah, it's because they start those guys at 18.
Yeah.
But when you're our age, you're either out or you're not working the COVID lines.
Yeah, exactly. When you're our okay, and yeah, I was gonna say, lots of people start these guys out at 18, but when you're our age, you're not 18. Which is true. I thought that was going to be your point, but it's not. So yeah. Really quick, just checking in, because we're now 2/3 of the way done with the podcast. Any interactions from anywhere?
Nope. Well, actually, I haven't. As of when we started the show, there were no corrections sent in on the official email address of the show. And
which
now
is
that
Ben's email at yahoo.com@gmail.com.
Indeed.
I still, every time that we do it, I'm like, do we want to make it more accessible? And normally, no. I really, the fact that we are I've talked about this before on both my Twitter and TikTok feeds. The less subscribers you have, the less work doing something is. Like if we had sponsors and money and a lot of listeners or whatever, people would be like, why don't you edit the podcast?
It's a lot. I know, right?
Why don't you have music? Why doesn't it make any sense? Is it just you and Ben talking all the time?
Why do you
constantly talk over Ben? That kind of thing.
Yeah, fortunately, we don't have anybody saying that.
Yeah.
Well, as the person who does everything, I'm right with you, because I don't edit the show, which might be plainly obvious to anybody who listens. I take your audio file, I match it to my audio file. I listen for a little bit to make sure that it lines up properly as I'm creating the web page. And then I go to the very end and I listen to the very end and I chop off anything that needs to be chopped off. And hey, look, there's a podcast.
Hey, there's something that I saw happen when they do international podcasting things, and okay. I want to try it really quick. They count to 10 with one person doing odds and one person doing evens, just to get a feel for the back and forth. So I'm going to start, right? We're going to count to 10. I'm going to start with 1. You're going to say 2, so on and so forth. Okay, you ready?
Okay. Yeah.
1,
2,
3,
4,
5,
6,
7,
8,
9.
10.
Wow, see? That's kind of a lag, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I replied to you.
I was saying it as soon as you were saying it.
Exactly. And then, but there were some beats between when I would say a number and when you would say the number.
All right, one more time. We're going to do it one more time. Get your finger ready to snap. I'm going to count down 3, 2, 1, and then we're going to snap.
Okay.
3.
Wait,
2,
on each other or alternate?
I'm going to count down. I'm just going to count. And when I get to, it's going to be 3, 2, 1, snap.
Oh,
right?
I see. Okay, yeah.
3, 2, 1. Oh man, that's nuts.
It's why we can't play music over the internet.
That's right. But it's funny because you and I have gotten pretty good at getting that space to sort of go away. We don't talk over each other as much anymore.
That snap is also a good sync point.
Hey, yeah. Well, we could do it. It's almost as though someone has come up with the idea that a quick, sharp sound is good for syncing up audio to anything else, like visual things. Or
it's funny because sometimes when I'm lining up the audio, when I had my old phone and I would record your track too, it was real easy because I just lined up your audio tracks. But now I kind of have to do it by ear, or like what seems logical, right? But sometimes I can hear my track coming through your headphones, and it gets recorded onto your audio. And but where I line it up is not what you're hearing, and so there's this weird echo. So I don't know if I should like line it up based on what I'm hearing or line it up based on what you're hearing, because those are two very different sync points, as we've discovered.
That's a really good question. Well, and in the end, we know that the brains of the people listening to it will match up eventually. Anyway,
indeed. So. Yerp. But no calls, no other emails.
Speaking of Yarp, Edgar Wright's going to be doing something. He's working on a new film, and I forget what it is.
Oh yeah?
Do you know?
I do not, but I just heard that Sam Raimi was connected to something recently.
It might be a sequel to Baby Driver. I think that's might be what it is.
What happened at the end of Baby Driver?
Oh, Did
Baby get caught? I saw the movie once like about a year ago, but I can't remember how it ended.
I want to say he got caught. Spoilers for Baby Driver that aren't really spoilers because neither Ben and I know what we're talking about.
Did Kevin Spacey go to jail in the movie?
Boy,
I remember he was in that.
Let's bring that guy back for the. No, I know. I want to say John Hamm died, but I don't know if that's true or not.
Oh. Well, too bad this isn't a show where we can do our research and talk about our subjects knowingly.
Exactly. It is true. For those of you who don't know, we have to mention the premise at least once. Ben and I know that it seems like this show doesn't do anything. Very true. But one of the conceits of it is that Ben and I have to work with what we have in our brains. We can't look anything up, either before or after. In our daily lives, we can, but we can't do any research for the show, and we can't look things up when we have questions, which is why we ask you, the listeners, to correct us. And sometimes people do. It's weird, though. You would think that a show built on telling people that they're wrong would be a big sensation on the internet, but
exactly,
we do not advertise, and that's part of the
that's part of the fun. Because if somebody finds us, it's very organic and worth more.
Exactly. In the end, if someone sticks with us, it means that they like us, and we don't have to pander to anything. Pander always, to me, sounds like sort of rural guy talking about pandas. Also, I've seen some of them panders. They're out there eating the bamboo.
The bamber.
The bamber. Pander ate the bamber. So
nasty
the reason that we're doing
bambers.
Oh, really? Pandas?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Terrible, terrible creatures. They're not cuddly teddy bears. Go and look.
nasty. How? Like,
Um, there was, well, I mean, how many? I don't know how many people have stuck their hands into a panda cage and gotten bitten.
ah,
But
yeah.
there was, I remember seeing one video where somebody was up. I don't know how this happened. The video didn't start until after the event occurred, but somebody was sitting up back. They're back up against the panda cage. They're trapped in their coat, and the panda's like pulling on their coat.
Oh no.
And I don't think a panda's
I've
ever
seen
killed
people in
anybody.
hockey do that.
Yeah, I don't think a
Put
panda's
the
ever
jersey
killed
around them.
anybody. But
Yeah.
they're definitely nasty at times.
I remember that Jennifer, at one point in time, she was at a tobacco shop, and one of the guys at the tobacco shop was talking about getting a tattoo. And one of the tattoos he was thinking about getting was a panda. And his question was, "Are pandas very violent?" And I laughed afterwards about it, but she was like, yeah, can be. So there you go. That's part of it. I I feel as though I should tell you that we are going on vacation. We are going to Santa Fe, and I was trying to remember who we knew who at least had lived in Santa Fe and who we knew who might live in Santa Fe now.
We know a lot of people
And
who used to and now do.
there are people who do live there now.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe after the podcast, you can tell me some of them,
Yeah.
and I'll.
I'm just thinking of one specific person.
Yeah, okay. It's probably the same person I'm thinking of, and I wasn't sure, but now I'm pretty sure.
All right. Well,
That
we'll
we're thinking
compare
of the same.
notes later on.
Yeah.
But
Also, I burnt my hand on some steam. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't.
I don't know if you can make it out.
Were you like opening up a pot of boiling water?
Okay, it's very, very, very close. Here's what happened. So we have an egg cooker, an automatic. It hard boils eggs.
Nice.
It's really great. So Jennifer made some eggs, and the thing went off and was beeping, and I was like, "Oh, hey, the thing's done beeping," and she's like, "Well, just turn it off." So I turned it off, and then I went off and did something, and a little while later it started beeping again. I'm like, "Huh? I could have sworn I turned it off," and I lifted it up to see if there was anything wrong, and it was beeping because she had started making more eggs, and I wasn't tracking that. So I opened up the thing, and all the steam came out, and for my hand, I'm feeling a lot better now. But last night it was just super bad.
Yeah, burns are terrible.
Yeah. So yeah, but we're going to we're driving.
You're driving to Santa Fe. That's which is why we're doing the show a day early, is because you're going to be out of town tomorrow.
So we're driving to Santa Fe, and then we're gonna hang out in a hotel there for 2 days, and then we're driving back. That's,
I've been seeing a lot of commercials online, and by a lot I mean two, for Omega Mart in Las Vegas.
It's funny that you mention it. We were going to go to Omega Mart in Las Vegas, but I was concerned because it was like a 23-hour trip or however long.
That's more than a weekend trip driving from Edwardsville to Vegas.
Yeah. And we could have flown. I mean, that would have been a possibility.
Yeah, but who wants to fly right now?
Exactly. That's right. And see, here's the thing. By the time summer rolls around, we will have had both of our shots. So a little bit more protected. So yeah, driving. And this is the thing. Omega Mart. I don't know if you know about this. Did I talk about this?
You mentioned it briefly last week.
Yeah, so it has a sister exhibit in Santa Fe. So that's what we're doing.
That's where you're going.
It's called the House of Infinite Return. And we'll see it. It seems like it's going to be fun.
There is a restaurant in Santa Fe, because Blair and I were in Santa Fe a couple years ago on a road trip.
Ooh, okay.
And there was a really nice restaurant. I don't know if it's open because of COVID and all that, but I'll see if I can find the name of it. They did have outdoor seating.
Okay, yeah, we'd be interested.
Yeah,
and yeah, obviously for those of you who are listening, we are going to be super safe. We do not. want to spread diseases to anyone and all that. There are mass things everywhere at all the places that we're going. It is not 100% safe, but it's also not, woo, spring break. It's
Exactly.
sort of a in between.
Has
And as we've already covered on the podcast, I do play Dungeons and Dragons with my Dungeons and Dragons group like once a month.
speaking of
So far, that's been fine.
speaking of places that might not be safe during a pandemic,
Yeah,
is the city museum shuttered?
City Museum is open.
Are
The
they?
City Museum is open. Yeah, they have a TikTok feed that you can look at and you can find out their stuff. They wear masks. They try to do the best thing to be safety. But I will say that they were one of the last standouts. So they didn't close when a lot of the places were closing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was a little bit conflicted about all of that, but I love City Museum. There's not a lot that they could do to make me feel bad about them. Uh, Even though, like I said, I still don't like the fact that they've become safer uh, to, to me.
I
But
want some
it
danger in
used
my adult playground.
exactly. It used to be that you could die. Not really, but I mean, like
If you
now, if
d-
a slide's over a certain height, you have to have a supervisor, that kind of thing.
Oh, really? They've gone
Also,
that far.
I'm not at my City Museum weight. I should have dropped like 20 pounds because I like to be able to go everywhere. And right now,
Right.
I will not fit through some of the things.
The only thing that really concerned me when we were bouncing through that joint when we were there a couple years ago was the little like hole in the wall to the floor to the basement, the
Yeah.
cave kind of. It's like you're walking through an HVAC system, or not walking but
Yep.
crawling through an HVAC
Yep.
hole. That was a bit sketchy.
Yep. Exactly. And they have extraction teams for people who get caught
Oh God.
in that. Dude, it's pretty great.
Have you
Hey,
seen
speaking
them?
about extraction teams, hey, Betty!
Have you seen the movie The Descent?
Uh, I believe I have. Spoilers for The Descent. Are there like
Yeah,
creepy guys? Like, yeah,
yeah.
I saw it.
It's just this team of, I think it's mostly women who go into
It
the
is.
go caving and
I
run
don't think it's
into
just mostly women. I think it's
so only
exclusively
women.
women.
Yeah. And they run into monsters. It's a fun scary movie, but if you
Notice I said exclusively women, not only women, and that was a conscious choice on my part because only women. I mean, come on. Words mean things. Represent. No, Ben. But speaking of words meaning things to represent, it's Betty. Hey,
Hey
Betty.
Hi.
Betty.
Here, put these on. Talk to Ben.
Oh God.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going? Look at
Going
your
good.
dad's hair. So you're back. Are you back in school now? Like back at the school?
Yep,
How's that working out for you?
it's going good.
Like, does it feel like it used to feel, or are they doing things differently these days?
It feels mostly like how it used to feel. Also, I'm on spring break right now, so it doesn't really.
Ah, okay. Yeah. So are there like when you're in class, do they have the same amount of kids in class as they used to have before the
No,
world
I'm
shut
pretty
down?
sure there are less because, not everybody wants to actually come to school.
I dig that. Are you also still in band?
Yes.
Playing the drums? Do I remember that correctly?
Yep.
Or percussion?
Yeah.
What's your your paradiddles and your I don't know what the other one is called.
No, I'm doing bells and stuff.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, cool. Alrighty. Does your dad's hair smell?
Nope. It just smells normal.
Thanks, guys.
Alrighty.
Oh, I'm gonna go.
Okay, see you, Betty.
Bye.
Bye.
Eh.
So,
I asked her if your hair smelled. That's why that happened.
oh yeah. So, check this out, Ben. I think you've seen this before. But, so I'm crossing my eyes, right?
Yeah.
And then I can move one eye forward, move the other eye forward. You see that, right?
This is the kind of quality content you get on the live stream that you don't get through the audio-only version.
So here's the thing. I did a TikTok with that in it, right?
Yeah.
And then I got these people coming into my comments who are like, wow, this is great. Do you think you could do it for a minute? Question mark. Oh, this is great. You know, I wonder. And here's the thing. I approached these very straightforward and very, oh, yes, I think I can do it for a minute. Here I go. I'm going to do this. But I feel like this must be what some content creators feel like when people go, wow, this is great. I wonder, could you do the same thing, but this time wear, I don't know, like some sandals? Oh, that's cool. Haha. I'd love to see what those toes look like painted. Exclamation. You know, that sort of thing. Just sort of being objectified. Not totally necessarily, but, and then, for whatever reason, somebody, so you can duet, right, where people are doing things side by side, and somebody duetted one of my eye crossing video things. You know, the one because somebody said, "Hey, I wonder if you could do it for a minute," and then other people could try to do it, and so somebody else tried to do it, and then I went on his feed, and it was the same commenter going, "Wow, I wonder if you could do this. Can you?" So there is a subculture of people who are enjoying eye crossing things, and now
there's something for everyone.
I get why our mutual friend, who everyone loved the song that he did and loved singing along to the song that he did, decided to mess it up so that other people wouldn't sing. I have not crossed my eyes in a video for a very long time because I do not want to have that be my only thing, and I don't want to have that to be a draw. I don't want that to be, you know, the thing that people are coming to see.
Yeah,
I'm an artist.
That was an awesome performance. Not just because he pulled what he did, but he was on the bill as, you know, playing guitar, and he showed up to that evening and said, "Is there a guitar here I can play?" And so we actually had to find him a stupid guitar. Like, normally, dude, we expect musicians to bring their own instruments.
I know it's weird, but yeah. One reason why I like playing the ukulele so much, very, very portable.
Yes. Yeah.
I do like the concertina, but I can't play it. I'm not that good at it. I'm actually passable now at a ukulele. I can do, I can do stuff. I still need to read music though when I do it. I don't have like a real player will have songs that they've memorized that they can just whip out and play, and I can't do that yet.
We know a performance artist. I don't know if he still lives in Seattle, but he did basically on demand karaoke. He would like set up in a bar and with a keyboard, and people would just come play any song, and he knew every song, and that was just like a talent I could not fathom. But you know, that's what happens when you study.
Do I know this?
You probably well after the show. I'll say who it is,
okay.
And you probably you know who it is. But
I'm
speaking of after the show, hey, look at the time.
Hey, yeah, it's gonna be after the show. After the show, when Ben and I get off of the live stream and stop recording the podcast,
Indeed.
but talk for a little while later about all the stuff that you
spill the tea about
the listener,
everybody we're talking about.
cannot know.
Indeed.
So become a Patreon subscriber, and
Oh, man.
we'll let you listen to the things. We don't have a Patreon. Oh, Ben, hey, if you want to do something, Ben, set up a Patreon.
God, no. We have a Patreon for the panel jumper, and it's too much to... I bet you anything,
there you go.
if Patreon existed back in our heyday of, like, the mid-aughts, we probably would have set one up.
Yeah. But no.
Anyway, all right. So,
Become
hey,
our
Paul!
friend, and then you can talk to us whenever you want.
Indeed. You don't even need to give us money. All right.
Hey, Ben, keep it wrong, bud.